right, just so happens my grandpa has the same truck as me, except his is a 350 instead of Excursion. Overdrive button is no longer working, which a lot of times is the wire itself breaking. So I'll show you how to replace that real fast. You need to, first thing you do, tilt your steering wheel down because that's going to give you more space to get this off. Underneath here, there's a Phillips screw right there. Phillips screw right there. Phillips screw right there. And that's the push pin for the ignition. You put the key in, turn the ignition forward. You can stick a Phillips screwdriver up in there. A relatively skinny one. It's going to push a little ball, and that's going to release this. I'm going to take this off to show you. To take this off, I'm going to take the tilt lever off. And that's out the way. There's the ball right there. So if you go through that hole and push that ball, that releases it. So that ball right there. There you go, the whole thing slides out just like it. Set that aside. Depending on your truck, you may get that beeping noise, but I'll show you how to shut that off in a second. I'll take this top panel off hard with one hand. Wanted to show you this while I'm working on it. You can stop that beeping noise. This is it right here. That sits like that. Just take that and set that down like that. That way it won't beep you to death. All right, this little cover here has a little pin just like that. You got to push on and pull up. I'll show you the pin. Take it off with two hands. All right, pull the pin, whole thing pops up. Now the shift lever itself is held in by this clip and this rod. So all you have to do is take a flat screwdriver, pop that clip out, pull this rod out, and the whole thing will come out. Just as a side note, here is the actual cables, which break a lot. And that's why this one's not working right. Someone's already tried to repair it at some point. That overdrive button is this wiring harness right here, which goes into this clip right here. And this is just typical pull up on that. And it'll pop out, which I'm gonna need two hands to do. As you see, that's why it's broken. Here's a new one, 68 bucks at Advanced Auto Parts. That way you get the new button plus the new wire and connector. That way you can replace the whole thing. All right, like I said before, flat screwdriver. Which I just broke. Well, let me use two hands. All right, so that clip is 100% completely stuck in there. So I'm gonna have to replace the clip once I get it apart. But if it does get stuck, just tape and gently tap right here, and you can actually force the pin to pop through the clip. Now I'm gonna pull it out on the back side. There we go, pins out. Now the whole arm will come out. Need to save this piece, so take this off and use it on the next one. Now the pin itself should come out. Oh, well there, that explains why it didn't pop through. Okay, it's not a pull clip, it's a push clip. Good news is I can reuse it too. Pulled this off nice and easy. Just gonna slide it right back over the new one. Slide this connector through first. So like this. Then put the whole thing through. It stretches a little. Be right back. There we have it, ready to go back on. Just slide that right back in there. Get your clip back out. It sits in there like that. It's got this spacer behind there to make the shifter feel tighter, so make sure you put it back in the right way. Do that. Just wiggling this down in there. I think it's about all the way in. Start to pin from the back. Very light tapping. Not quite lined up. Try now. There it is. Wiggle it again. Make sure it's lined up. We'll use 2 hands to make it all lined up. Be right back. All right, there she is. It does have some splines on the back of this side, so you want to make sure you knock it in far enough for those splines to engage. Everything works like it should. I'm going to start putting it back together. First thing, I'm going to put this cover back down. Snaps into this little hole right here. There it is. I'm going to come over here. Plug this back in. Which I'm going to need 2 hands for. Alright, that's plugged in. As you can see, there's some extra wire, so I'm going to wrap that up with some electrical tape real neatly so it doesn't get pinched by anything. Now, if you look at the way it's designed, when you go to use this, it's actually going to pull some cord that direction and then bring it back every time it goes in and out, which is probably why it gets broken in the first place. So I'm going to try to arrange it so that I roll up the excess, tuck it underneath here, but it's still got some play down here so it can get all the way down in one without binding up. All right, got that tucked up under there nicely and taped. And now when you move the gear lever, it just moves this left and right slightly. That way it doesn't make any rolly spots where it's going to pinch and tear out in the future. Now to put it back together, I'm just going to put the top cover on first, then put the ignition back in, then put the bottom cover on. Don't forget to put your little key sensor back on where it goes. Panel's back on, just 3 screws in those holes. Key slides right back in, just make sure you have everything aligned. You can see the key. You see the hole there where this little point sticks in. All right, so just as an additional note here, when you do replace this lever after the overdrive cable is in the back, wears out and breaks, if the wire grounds out on the metal, it'll blow the fuse. So you have to pop open this panel down here, and I'll switch to a video that shows what fuse it is. But I think it's fuse number 19 or 42, depending on what year the vehicle is, but it's right here underneath the dash. It's a 10 amp fuse, so look around for that and you'll see it blown sometimes, because what will happen is if you have an electronic pedal, like a throttle position sensor, the diesels have that, you won't be able to hit the gas because it's the same fuse for the overdrive. So you'll just be able to start up, have idle, some of your gauges won't work, and you won't be able to hit the gas. I mean, you'll hit it, but nothing will happen. So again, fuse number 19 or 42, depending on the year, on the diesels, in a panel right underneath there. And I'll put that video on.